Tonight, our 10th anniversary celebration continues with world-class top 10 super middleweight Allan Green back in the ring after life-threatening surgery.
For you to say illness, that's an understatement. I mean, your colon is like the source of your life. I mean, I've had 85% of mine removed.
His opponent is Detroit slugger Ruben Williams. Hollywood is bringing his show to Tulsa. And live in our studio, undefeated top 10 heavyweight Sultan Ibragimov. He beat Holyfield and now prepares for Vladimir Klitschko. The Friday Night Fight celebration starts now. Friday Night Fights presented by Just for Men. We're in Tulsa tonight, the $1 Million Elm Casino. Exciting super middleweight Allan Green with a home game, very possibly marching back toward a title shot. Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Kenny, and welcome once again to Friday Night Fights. Great world-class action for you tonight. Allan Green back on track, and as you heard, back in full health. He's a very dangerous man when he's healthy. Also, Zahir Raheem will start things off. Of course, Raheem with a win over Eric Morales. Very good name to have on your resume. Zahir Raheem, Allan Green, world-class action for you tonight here on Friday Night Fights, and world-class action here in the studio as well. Joining us this evening, heavyweight belt holder Sultan Ibragimov. He has wins over Holyfield and Shannon Briggs. Most recently, he fights Vladimir Klitschko, the #1 heavyweight in the world, at Madison Square Garden, February 23rd. So coming up here tonight on the program, we will break things down with Sultan himself, and we'll break down Ibragimov versus Vladimir Klitschko. Also, Teddy Atlas on the heavyweight division. And our 10th anniversary celebration continues here on Friday Night Fights. We'll have one of our knockouts of the decade. Right now, live boxing. Let's go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas.
Allan Green is still very much a world-class fighter with upside, and as he readies himself for tonight's main event against Ruben Williams, the Tulsa native looks to maintain his status as one of the most dangerous fighters in this super middleweight division. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joe Tessitore, and Friday Night Fights is back here in Tulsa. We have been making frequent visits in recent years. Of course, the reason is Allan Green. But tonight, we may be getting the best version yet because he says he's finally 100% healthy. We'll have more on that a little later on. As for his lofty status, well, of course, in the super middleweight division, Joe Calzaghe leads the way. He's the best in the world. Green suffered his lone career loss last year to fellow contender Edison Miranda, but he's bounced back 2 straight wins. He's #7 with big plans this new year.
If I get all the fights that I should get, I will be that guy. I will be fighter of the year in 2008. And like I said, if it's Lucian Butte, if it's Calzaghe, if it's Kessler, if it's Lacey, those are the main names I want. I'm really not even thinking about a lot of other guys. Or if it's Pavlik or Taylor. Those are the main names I want. And if I get the fights that I should get, then I will be fighter of the year. I'll be world champion in 08. 08 is my year. Like I told you guys before my Darrell Woods fight, and I said what I meant. I will be the top dog. That's a promise.
He's not wasting any time here. The first Friday Night Fight of the new year, now joined by my broadcast partner, Teddy Atlas. We've seen him grow through the years. He hasn't always looked 100%. He says it's because 80% of his colon was removed, and now he's back. He's fully recovered. So what are your expectations of this version of Allan Green?
Well, the first thing you have to think about is maybe a more confident Allan Green, although he always seems as though he's pretty sure of himself when he's in that ring. But as far as styles, Joe, not a big difference. You are what you are with your style, and you go with what brings you there. And what brings Allan Green here is his ability, his well-mixed ability. He's got a little bit of power in that right hand. He has good size, good reach, and he has good boxing skills. And he's going to use those skills against that guy. The guy who's getting his hands checked right there, Ruben Williams. Ruben Williams is a guy who's, when he stepped up twice, he's lost. Those represent his 2 knockout defeats. He's a guy that has a good set of skills. He's a guy who boxes well. He's a guy who doesn't run. He's a guy who will be in there representing himself. But he's a guy who's lacking a little power. That, I think, will be the big difference tonight with him and Allan Green.
Pretty good looking main event here. Ruben Williams taking on Allan Green. That is coming up. up later, and when we come back, we will see Zahir Raheem. He's in action against Ricardo Dominguez next on Friday Night Fights. Hair color knocks out the gray better than ever, and in part by Verizon Wireless and by Campbell's Chunky, the official soup and chili sponsor of the NFL. The Golden Driller, the landmark here in Tulsa, with a shoe size of 393 Triple D, dedicated to the men and women of the petroleum industry. We are not that far away at the Osage $1 Million Elm Casino, the home ring of Allan Green, who will be coming up in our main event. For right now, we get things started with Zahir Raheem against Ricardo Dominguez. Zahir Raheem back to action. Ring Magazine still has him placed in the top 10 among the lightweights. Many fans and boxing writers who have been very critical of his overly cautious and clinch-filled style. Still his record, 28-2 with 16 knockouts. The last 5 fights of his career tell the story. First career loss was controversial to Rocky Juarez. Then he upset Eric Morales. But instead of getting the big payday with Manny Pacquiao, he lost a title shot against Acelino Freitas. More recently, booed right here against Cristobal Cruz. Now he knows where things stand.
My last 2 fights, man, was terrible. It was stinkers. You know what I mean? And I can't point the blame and make no excuses. Only thing I can do right now is be dynamic. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
Ramon Dominguez, 22 years old, but he's fought as a pro for now 6 years. He turned pro as a 15-year-old in Mexico, 23-1-2, 15 knockouts. Comes from the same hometown as the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez. Double S, Steve Smoger is your referee. They're scheduled for 8.
In English, Ricardo, comprende todo? Okay. Touch gloves, God bless you both. Tocan las manos, tocan, gracias. Okay. David.
The ring experience between Dominguez and Raheem. Raheem has been a pro now for 12 years, but only 30 fights. In fact, inactivity in recent years he thinks has greatly harmed him. 1 fight in 07, 1 fight in 06, 2 fights in 05, and 2 fights in 04. Opening round, Raheem and Dominguez scheduled for 8.
Raheem is 8-0 in Oklahoma. I have a funny feeling he's going to be 9-0. But we have a while to find that out. Raheem has fought the much better competition, Joe. We know he can perform on that level with top guys. We do not know that about Dominguez.
See the knockout ratio for both men. Raheem, former world title challenger, lost that WBO title shot against Acelino Freitas. That fight was a very sloppy clinch-filled fight. The career highlight was September 2005, Teddy, when he upset the pound-for-pound elite Eric Morales.
A huge step up in class for Dominguez. Nothing really on his resume to have prepared him for this. Matter of fact, in his last fight, in his 22nd
Good left hook by Zahir Raheem, and he scores the knockdown here in this opening round.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Either he couldn't or he wouldn't continue. The bottom line is he sat there and he shook no to the referee's request, do you want to get up?
And he's still down. Meanwhile, raised up is Zahir Raheem, who, if you asked Zahir Raheem, what do you need at this point in your career right now, that's exactly what the answer would be.
The answer was he needed Dominguez.
Exactly. He got the right guy in front of him.
A fighter who, in his last fight, in his 27th fight, fought a fighter who had a record of 0-1.
So Zahir Raheem, who was born and raised in Philly, was a 1996 Olympian and had such high hopes throughout his career. In his 2 losses, one controversial, the other one foul-filled, and recently booed out of this arena in a win, gets a first-round knockout win to start off the new year. A new year he's hoping for comes with bigger and better things.
And that's how he got it. With a good left hook where there was no right hand to protect for Dominguez. And again, you see a double left hook. The second one, not necessary. The first one did the job. And Raheem, not known as a puncher, known as a good boxer, but he made a punch miss, and that's how you draw it up in boxing 101. Make a miss, and then counter right back before your opponent has a chance to see it coming and to defend against it. Exactly what Raheem did, and the results exactly what they would wish for.
For the official particulars, we send it up to the ring to Pat Harker.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's congratulate our winner. 1 minute, 18 seconds. So that first round, a big KO for Zahir King Raheem.
Zahir Raheem moves his mark to 29-2, now with 17 knockouts. Another look at the left hook that scored the first round knockout for Raheem, Teddy.
And watch how it's set up. Again, it's set up by good boxing. A slip to the side, and then right back with that left hook. We'll take one more look. A slip to the side, get underneath that jab, and then come up with his legs under him, with his shoulder behind him, and a left hook on the chin, and an early night, an early shower for Raheem.
He said he's in a dry spot in his career. He just made a splash. Let's send it back to the studio and Brian Kenny.
All right, KFC, Friday Night Fight Studios, and Joe Tessitore. As Zahir Raheem said, he wanted to make a splash, wanted to be exciting. He certainly was. First round KO, unexpectedly. Brian Kenny here, Friday Night Fights, joined now, as we had mentioned, by Sultan Ibragimov, one of the heavyweight titleists. We welcome him to Friday Night Fights. Great to have you here, Sultan. We appreciate you coming, breaking camp. And now this, use English, and we're going to be talking to you here. English is your third language, right?
Third language, yes.
Russian is your second language. What's your first language? I think this is interesting.
First language was my Avarian. Avarian is mountain language.
Like
Avarian.
a mountain dialect. From
Yes.
where are you from precisely in Russia? Explain to people.
This is not dialect. This is a different language, not Russian. Different. Nobody can understand this language.
In southern Russia. That's the first language.
South Russian. Yeah.
So, okay, so again, we appreciate you coming through, and we'll work through, again, the language barrier that we have here. I'll slow down as well. Take a look at the resume for Sultan Ibragimov. Again, he bumps on the scene as he comes up and gets a win over Shannon Briggs. Gets the win over Shannon Briggs. And then after that, there we go, beats Evander Holyfield to defend that title. Again, born in Dagestan, Russia, winner of over 200 amateur fights, silver medalist in the Olympic Games, and again, 22-0-1. Took that WBO heavyweight title belt. And again, he's going after number one. Going to be fighting Vladimir Klitschko on February 23rd at Madison Square Garden. Again, there is no one heavyweight champion, but Vladimir Klitschko, with the wins that he has put up on his resume, has clearly established himself as the number one heavyweight in the world. So February 23rd, Madison Square Garden in New York City. Here's Vladimir Klitschko on Sultan Ibragimov.
He's very well motivated for this fight because he's fighting the strongest guy out there. And I think that Ibragimov is the guy you cannot underestimate. I don't want to overestimate him, and that's why I'm looking forward to this fight.
All right, we're going to talk about that height difference because you look way up at Vladimir, as does everybody. Really, 6'6". Take a look at the tail of the tape. Again, Sultan is 32 years old. Vladimir is 31, even though Vladimir now has had kind of a second extension of his career. But the height is the thing. And also 49 wins for Klitschko. And again, Sultan Ibragimov 22-0-1. All right, let's go through fight by fight now for you, Sultan. Let's go back to Ray Austin, July 2006. Again, you're going to show a little power here early, but knocked down Austin, but it would eventually end up being a draw. What was the challenge, I guess the biggest challenge, in fighting Ray Austin?
That was challenge. This fight was my bad shape in my life. I came for this fight 235. I never weighed like 235. I came for fight 220. That was my bad shape.
So you were in the worst shape of your life coming into the fight. So you were did you have any problems with the draw? Did you think you had won that fight, or did you think a draw was about right?
Draw give us Judd. I never, if Judd give me a draw, that's it.
That's all, you just accept it
Yes.
as a draw. Okay, a lot of people don't feel that way, Sultan, but that's the way you do, so good for you. Let's move on now. You fight Shannon Briggs. Briggs comes off a win over Sergey Lyhovich, and then Sultan gets Shannon Briggs. Now, Shannon, big, strong guy, you know, presents some problems out there. What was the biggest challenge for you in fighting Shannon Briggs?
So Shannon Briggs, he's a very tough guy. He got good, hard right hand.
Right, yeah.
I feel that that hand first round.
In the first round, you felt it. You had to be very careful, too. So you get a win over Shannon Briggs and win that going away. And next up is Evander Holyfield. Did you watch Holyfield? I wouldn't say growing up. I mean, not that much younger. But did you watch Holyfield through your formative years when he was a heavyweight champion?
Of course. I saw his fight with 1994 or 1995. I don't remember.
With Mike Tyson?
Yes.
Okay.
His fight I saw, it was so good fight. And I never believed about I will be fight with Holyfield that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Holyfield fights on. Now, Evander comes off, again, look, Evander, former champion, fighting well past his prime, but came off an exciting win over Lou Savarese, given Lou is in his 40s as well. But why, Sultan, do you think you were able to beat Evander Holyfield so convincingly?
For this fight, I came in for good shape. I have very good shape, and I was believe I feel my fast hand and fast legs. I was very believe because I know I've been in this fight.
You seem to close very quickly and move your hands. Is that something that you tried to make happen against Evander? You know, in closing quickly on him and using your quicker hands?
Yes, because Holyfield, he got big heart. He go to each round, he go straight, and I feel he goes with hand. With head.
Yeah, he does come in with his head a little bit. Yes, we've heard that. Yes, that's a good point. Let's take a look now at Vladimir Klitschko, again, the #1 heavyweight in the world. And again, Vladimir, again, really started his second run in the heavyweight division with a win over Sam Peter. Then he came back in April 2006, had this dominant performance against Chris Bird, who was basically the #1 heavyweight in the world at the time. Then he takes on Calvin Brock, and this is in November of 2006. Brock, very credible heavyweight, had given guys a lot of problems on his way up, and Vladimir took him out with a thunderous right hand. Then it's Ray Austin, again, the guy that had the draw with Sultan Ibragimov, and he takes him out in spectacular fashion. And then the rematch with Layman Brewster, again, the loss kind of derailed the first part of his career, came back, pecked him apart, and took him out. And Vladimir Klitschko fights on, again, the #1 heavyweight in the world. Everyone's trying to, you know, unify the titles. Hopefully that can happen. You get one consensus heavyweight champion. Just why do you think, Sultan, you can beat that man at that size? You know, with his height, with his length, with that jab, why do you think you can beat him?
Because I know how I can beat him. I can tell you here how I can beat him. We're making in the gym, in my camp with my coach, Jeff Mayweather. We're making good, big surprise. You will see in February 23.
A big surprise. Okay, just give me, because I don't want you to give away, you know, your strategy, of course. But how does anybody get through a heavyweight that size? Again, a guy with a good jab, not just his height. A lot of guys are tall, but he's tall with a jab that lands, you know, way out front. How do you combat that?
You will see in February 23. I can tell you how we're going. We working very hard. We're doing a lot of plans. We're making a lot of plans for this fight. You will see in February 23.
What do you think of him as a fighter?
Who?
Vladimir Klitschko. What do you think of him as a fighter?
Vladimir is a good fighter. Good fighter. Today he is #1. You will see #1 heavyweight. But we will change it in February 23.
All right. Well, you get your shot February 23rd again at Madison Square Garden. Sultan Ibragimov taking on Vladimir Klitschko. Again, a little later on, we're going to bring in Teddy Atlas, and we'll go over the heavyweight division. And again, you see the Eastern European, Russian influence in the heavyweight division. We'll talk about that, and Sultan certainly part of that. We've got football coming your way here on ESPN2 tomorrow. It is bowl season. Still, Rutgers taking on Ball State. You can get that noon Eastern time right here, the International Bowl, right here on ESPN2. You can start the afternoon off again. Rutgers and Ball State. ESPN2, noon Eastern. Still to come here on Friday Night Fights in the main event. One of the top fighters in the world, really, Allan Green, top 10 super middleweight in the main event. Back for live boxing in Tulsa after this.
The KFC Friday Night Fight Studio is brought to you by KFC's
Joe and Teddy with you. Friday night fights from Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Osage $1 Million Elm Casino. That means we must have sweetness in the main event, and he is number 7 super middleweight in the world. Allan Green will be taking on Ruben Williams in our main event. Green says he is primed, he is focused, he is ready. What can we expect from him tonight?
Well, you know, you can expect to see a lot of power punching. Not too much boxing, but a lot of power punching, just a little bit. You know, Ruben Williams is the kind of guy that kind of fights behind you, lays back, just like he did Jeff Lacey. He doesn't really come to a fight, he kind of lays back. Not really necessarily a counter puncher. He just fights behind you. You throw 2 or 3 punches, and he throws, you know, 2 or 3 punches. So I don't plan on this fight going a distance. I won't make any predictions, but I don't see it going a distance.
Green's 6th fight out of his last 8 on ESPN. Well exposed and a force to be reckoned with. He is coming up in our main event. Next up, 6 rounds, junior middleweights, Carson Jones against Jose Gonzales.
Carson Jones.
There is Carson Jones. We saw him on ESPN when he went up against the contenders Alfonso Gomez. He was knocked out in the 8th round of that fight. He's lost 3 straight. He is from Oklahoma City, 21 years old, 12-5-1. And from Garden City, Kansas, is Jose Gonzales, 6 foot tall, 153, 11-1. His lone loss was a majority decision loss back in 2004. And he started boxing at age 7, and he says he had over 400 amateur fights. Bill Marshall's the ref.
Instructions earlier in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Let's have a good, clean fight. That's about. Let's do it.
Joe, here's an intangible, and intangibles do float in the air in boxing arenas to think about. Both these fighters got a call out of their locker room much quicker than they expected to go because of the first fight going down so fast. Both fighters look very dry to me. Nobody has had time to properly warm up. Things can happen early when guys are not warmed up.
Round number 1 scheduled for 6. Jones in the blue, Jose Gonzales in the red. You know, that's one of the tough things about being what we call in the business one of these swing bouts, the bouts where you're standing by and potentially could shift into an earlier or later position based on what happens with the guaranteed selected televised fights, such as the case with Jones and Gonzales.
Work out.
You always want to warm up good, especially when you're coming out of inactivity. Jones is coming off of inactivity. 7 months since he was last in the ring, and he's lost his last 3. Jones is a local product from here in Oklahoma. All his fights have been in the West and Midwest. One thing I'll tell you about Jones, even though he's fought his fights in the West and Midwest and fought plenty of soft guys, he has fought the much better competition. But then again, he has lost to all that competition.
Indeed he has. 3 straight losses. Started with the loss to Alfonso Gomez. Both men going to the body in the infighting here early on in this first round. You see Jose Gonzales in the red trunks. He told me earlier, toughest thing he's had to overcome in his life was the loss of his father when he was 7 years old. His father died in a car accident, and that was the year that he started boxing. And he's been pushing forward ever since then in the ring.
Well, you see the speed and maybe the versatility belongs to Jones. He can use his legs. He moves in and out. And his hands, they get there quicker than Gonzales's.
3-punch combination by Jones. Gonzales tried to come back with a right hand.
Jones is trying to score more. Gonzales is trying to score best. You can see Gonzales looking to make his shots count.
Little up jab from Gonzales and then a right uppercut, or from Jones and then a right uppercut on the inside before tying up that right hand of Gonzales with his left. Referee Bill Marshall trying to get them to work out of that.
Although Jones does a little shoe shine and quick flurries inside, you can see he's better suited with the bigger man, Gonzales, on the outside. Gonzales's territory is to dominate right here. in the trenches.
That's where he is now. He tried to drive a right hand downward but missed, and Jones brings it back out to range. The lead right uppercut. And they trade here as we come to the end of this first round. Pretty good action in the closing moments between Carson Jones and Jose Gonzales on Friday Night Fights.
Do you have questions about your Cox services? Now the answers are at your fingertips. Just go to coxhelpcenter.com. I'll be here to answer your questions 24/7. You can use quick questions, search by category, or you can even type in your question. It's easy and convenient. So come see me at coxhelpcenter.com. That's coxhelpcenter.com. Answers the easy way. From Cox Communications, your friend in the digital age.
Come on in. Backed into a pole. She didn't even wake up.
Hey, Mike.
I'll be right back. Thanks. These are for your rental. That's it? Yeah. Body shop is picking up your car. Right. We'll call you.
Thanks. Switch to Progressive and get complimentary concierge service. It's about you, and it's about time.
So glad you're with us here on Friday Night Fights from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Round number 2 of Carson Jones and Jose Gonzales. Carson Jones in the blue trunks, Gonzales in the red trunks. Both men landing 23 punches in that first round. I'm Joe Tessitore alongside Teddy Atlas. Much anticipated main event still to come your way. Top 10 super middleweight Allan Green taking on former world title challenger Ruben Williams. That's still coming your way. Plus Brian Kenny and Sultan Ibragimov in studio tonight.
You know, two schools of thought on how a guy like Gonzales should go about fighting this fight. He's a bigger guy and a stronger guy. Some people would say he should go inside, use that strength. Other people would say he should be on the outside using that height, that length, and not giving up that height to Jones. Because you could see a couple times when he gives up that height, Jones does a good job of counterpunching.
Now out at range. Comes in behind that jab. Now back to the inside.
I think there's only one school of thought as far as how Jones should go about this. Just what he's doing. Don't lay right in front and hit and move.
Showing a little bit of movement that time. Back to the inside. Gonzales yet to fire off. Series of body punches from Gonzales. You see that 620 on the back of those red trunks as he lands a right hand and a clubbing left hand. That's the area code of his home area of Garden City, Kansas. He says, I owe so much to the people of that town. I want to represent them well. Now Jones up against the ropes. Teddy, you said that's a danger zone for him.
Well, I see, you can see the strength difference and advantage of Gonzales in the red when he lands his shots. Jones's shots do not affect Gonzales. Gonzales's shots starting to show an effect on Jones.
Go hold it. Go hold it.
First 2 minutes of this second round, Jose Gonzales was able to land 18 body punches out of 29 thrown.
Right now, this round, Gonzales acting like he knows he's the stronger guy. And he's trying to manhandle Jones on the inside.
Pushes him back with a right hand after throwing 2 lefts, and now back to the inside. Much better looking round for Jose Gonzales here in the second round.
A little cooperation, a little help, not from his friend, but his opponent, Jones. Jones standing in front of him. Maybe too much for a smaller guy.
Come on, work it out. Work it out.
Lead right uppercut just misses. Coming to the end of round number 2, scheduled for 6 on Friday Night Fights from Tulsa.
Whoa, I didn't see that coming.
It's a crunchy hot wing with no sauce.
But it's still got all the kick.
Sauceless and crunchy, it's amazing.
In a split second, everything that I knew about hot wings has changed. In this new wing world, anything is possible.
Will you go out with me?
Yes.
Didn't see that coming.
Crunchy on the outside, spicy on the inside. The sauceless hot wing is at KFC. Get a bucket of 20 or try 6 wings for $2.99. Only at KFC.
Brian Kenny here with the SportsCenter 30 at 30 update. Roger Clemens, among others, invited to testify before Congress January 16th. His former trainer, Brian McNamee, also invited. Andy Pettit and Chuck Knobloch also on that list. And Zach Randolph suspended for tonight's game against the Spurs. The Knicks forward center threw his headband toward an official in a prior game. Let's go back ringside. Joe Tessitore.
Thanks, BK. There is Jose Gonzales, the 26-year-old from Kansas, 11-1. Lost the second pro fight of his career. Since then has been streaking. And he's looking for a nationally televised victory here tonight against Carson Jones. The opportunity for a 6-round fight on TV for these two because Zahir Raheem, top 10 ranked lightweight, scored a first-round knockout in our opening bout tonight. Thus, Jones and Gonzales get to play it out over 6 rounds here in front of the lights and cameras.
In the last round, Gonzales' strength overtook the speed of Jones.
3-punch combination from Jones as there's a little bit of separation. There's a right hand that drives down from Gonzales.
Well, two basic mistakes for the quicker but smaller Jones. Standing in front of Gonzales and going straight back. Needs to get angles. Try to get to the side a little bit where he can get Gonzales off balance. Make him turn his feet. If Gonzales turns his feet, then he can't use that power. Right now he can use that power because the smaller man in blue is right in front of him.
Connected in between punches moments ago, did Gonzales. Jones right there in front of him, trying to go to the body. Does so with a series of lefts and rights before tying up. And referee Bill Marshall takes care of that. Back to the center of the ring and right back to the inside for these two. Gonzales trying to place that right hand, and he does so that time.
Again, more punches by Jones sometimes, and definitely quicker ones. But the harder ones, that's the man in the red.
Undoubtedly, the more effective work being done by Jose Gonzales.
And now he's showing some smarts, Gonzales, going downstairs to the body of the smaller man. No better way to dominate a smaller man than to dominate his smaller body. Jones is small, but he's game. And he's a little feisty.
Your back turn, don't do that, all right?
Warning from Bill Marshall.
Hey, to land a punch that might turn it around, I'll take a warning any day. Not a bad
good trade-off
right there by Jones.
They open up here. Gonzales headhunting. Jones going to the belt line. Then he lands a right uppercut moments ago.
The round has turned. The round has turned since he landed that right hand that he got a warning for.
Oh, both men landing big shots here. Good stuff.
I've been a Cox customer for 14 years. My wife talks to my mother-in-law about 3 times a day. It just seems like she's always talking on there. It would be one of those things like, hey, you know, hurry up. The Cox phone service is the most important to us. We still have our same number as we did 7 years ago. And all the long distance you want, so it's a good thing. Yeah, I'm doing a commercial right now. Yeah, for Cox. The bundle package, cable and phone service and internet service is a great deal, and I would recommend it to anyone.
Watch your savings grow. Month after month, year after year. Cox Digital Telephone.
Last round, you know, you take a warning if maybe you get a free punch. Well, Jones got a free punch, he got a warning, and maybe that round turned around a little bit after that free punch.
Pretty good looking, entertaining 6-round bout here on Friday Night Fights. Round 4, Carson Jones in the blue, Jose Gonzales in the red. Allan Green, sweetness still to come against Ruben Williams. And a strong main event on Friday Night Fights. Zahir Raheem opened up this show with a first-round knockout of an apparently overmatched Ricardo Dominguez. Lunges in behind the jab and right hand, and both men swinging upstairs with uppercuts in the center of the ring.
You know, Joe, there's two defensive flaws in the makeup and style of Jones. One, he's choosing to obviously stand in front of the bigger, stronger Gonzales too much. The other is when he moves his head, watch. He moves it and finishes on his right side. That's a side where you're in the alleyway of a right hand. He should finish his head on the left side, outside that right hand.
Double jab, right hand from Gonzales. Now Jones up against the ropes. He's been targeting that body, while Gonzales has been looking to land right hands upstairs when they've been in this position. Two shots to the body. Right hand sneaks in and splits the guard from Gonzales. Three-punch combination from Jones. Right hand again upstairs and a right uppercut from Jones. Tries to go back to it, and Gonzales smothers him against the ropes. But good work and a solid uppercut from Carson Jones.
Well, Gonzales is trying to outpower Jones. Jones is just outworking Gonzales. And he's putting some credence to the thought that some people think you're better off putting them together than throwing one at a time.
Opened up that time, and Gonzales was able to land a right hand. But a strong series there from Jones in the middle here of round number 4.
Jones might not carry the power in one shot of Gonzales, but he figures at least this round, 6 of mine are better than 1 of Gonzales's. And they have been.
Just ate 4 headshots and then went back to the body. That belt line has been an easy target throughout this 4th round.
Break.
Coming to the end of 4, Jones and Gonzales.
Watching the Winter X Games is as important as what you watch it on. For the first time, see all the action in high definition on an Olivia HD TV. Winter X Games 12, January 24th through the 27th on ESPN and ABC.
Do you have enough mental and physical energy for your day?
I could always use more.
That's why there's One A Day All Day Energy, the only complete multivitamin with both high levels of B vitamins and an extended release guarana blend to help you feel energized. One A Day All Day Energy.
It's the AutoZone Rewards Card, and it's free to every AutoZone customer. It's simple. The more you shop at AutoZone, the more rewards you earn. So get your free rewards card today. It's our way of saying we're proud to have you as a customer. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Here's some work on the inside, going back and forth. Gonzales trying to use that size, but maybe smothering himself a little bit, and Jones knew what to do. Those shorter arms, those faster hands, and maybe he grabs the round.
Entertaining 6-round fight among these Midwestern junior middleweights. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you here in Tulsa for Friday Night Fights. Allan Green still to come in our main event against Ruben Williams. That's a good one. This has been an entertaining one. Round number 5, Carson Jones in the blue, Jose Gonzales in the red. In that last round, Jones had 37 total connects. 27 of them were body shots.
Jones was speeding in the last round, used up a lot of gas. We'll find out how much gas he used up.
Let's look at those just for men body shot numbers from that last round, and you can see Jones with a big advantage, landing 63%. Gonzales only through 5. Free left hand for Gonzales. Separation came with the right hand from Gonzales.
Jones has slowed down this round. Has shown a little effects of that quick pace of the last round. think Gonzales helps himself on the inside, Joe, when he puts his hands behind the smaller man. He should work on the inside, take advantage of that size difference. Look at Jones. He's glad to get a free ride inside and not have to feel the bigger hands of Gonzales.
Mouthpiece just came out. If we get a lull in the action, we will have a break here from referee Bill Marshall. So Jose Gonzales heads back to Brandon Woods, his trainer.
This is a rest that I think Jones is glad to get.
These two fought 2 times in the amateurs. Gonzales had the better amateur career, and he won both of those bouts. Now meeting here as pros, both hungry for a televised win and both giving very good, sincere efforts.
Well, just look at the way Jones and Blue have taken advantage of like a little rest. You can see he's re-energized, revitalized. And he's turning southpaw for a second.
And then comes with the right uppercut, darting in and out, working that body, and then escaping.
Look at that, guys. Look at that.
Teddy, how do you see this fight right now?
Right now, at the end of the 4th, I have it dead even, 38-38.
Coming towards the closing moments of this 5th round. They will have 1 more to go in Tulsa. Carson Jones, Jose Gonzales. Last 3 minutes when we return.
Single again, with gray hair. How am I going to start over?
Just for Men targets only the gray and 5 easy minutes.
You know, dating again is easier than I thought. And now I wonder, why did I ever put up with gray hair?
Show them what you've got. Stay in the game with Just for Men.
To me, game day is the most important day of the week. It doesn't matter if it's the big game or tossing the ball around in my neighborhood. I believe that my performance is a reflection of how I take care of myself and how I want to live well. GNC Mega Man Sport Multivitamin helps me do just that. It's balanced nutrition in a proprietary sports blend, enhanced with antioxidants, prostate, and heart support, plus key amino acids, the building blocks for healthy muscles. Game day starts with my Mega Man Sport Multivitamin from GNC. Live well.
6th and final round. They will touch him up. They'll hug it out a little bit. Carson Jones, Jose Gonzales, a spirited effort from both men.
Look, guys, look at that now. No holding.
That lead right uppercut. He's had some success with it, has Jones, throughout the evening. Who's willing to work there on the inside?
You know, some people might have said Gonzales early on was taking advantage of his size advantage over the smaller jams. And a lot of people could say in the last several rounds, Jones has taken advantage of being the smaller man and being the quicker man.
When they just went to the inside moments ago, a bad gash opened up on Jose Gonzales. He lands a right hand, but Carson Jones sees blood, smells blood, and has been on the attack as Gonzales tries to wipe it away.
And it would figure to have been from a head clash. You can see the blood flowing right into the left eye of Gonzales. Both guys in close quarters, and that's exactly what we thought. Both guys' heads coming together, Gonzales getting the worst of it.
This is a bad one. Take a look.
Both guys coming forward, the taller man coming down to the height of the smaller man and getting busted up.
And with that blood comes a fierce pace that has turned out here in this 6th round. Still just under 2 minutes to go. Good short right hand from Gonzales, met by a flurry to the waistline from Jones.
Is it better to be big or better to be fast? Well, it depends how you use those advantages, those assets. Jones was doing a good job of using that speed the last several rounds.
Teddy Atlas's scorecard, 48-47, Carson Jones. Jones getting the crowd's attention again.
Well, Gonzales might have the bigger car in this race, but Jones...
There's that right uppercut again, Teddy.
Well, Jones has the faster engine right now.
Both men blood-soaked here in round number 6 after that clash of heads that instantly opened up a gash on the forehead of Jose Gonzales.
What you mustn't miss here, Joe, is that the bigger man, it's a matter of who uses their assets, their abilities better. I've been saying Jones has been using his better, and you can see it. He's going in and out. He's flowing 4 punches, 5 punches, 6 punches to the one of Gonzales. And Gonzales on the inside, putting his hands behind the smaller man and not using his strength advantage. Look at it right here. I'm sure Jones is happy that Gonzales is not letting those bigger hands go.
Jones looking to finish strong. Up on his toes, bringing it home, and he does so with one more right hand. Boy, that was a fun little 6-rounder, was it? Our first blood of the new year. Welcome to Friday Night Fights 08.
One satellite company claims they've got more HD, but to watch all of it, you'll need an even bigger, even uglier dish than before. Plus, you'll need to make sure nothing interferes with the signal, like buildings, trees, rain, even wind. And get this, it'll cost over $1,000 a year in extra subscription fees to actually get all the HD they offer. So choose Cox for high def. With free HD programming, no ugly dish, and no hassles, the clearest choice for HD is Cox.
Always get your local channels. Do you know what else? Packages start at only $29.99 per month. Plus, call now and ask how you can get 32 premium movie channels free for 3 months. There are no startup costs, no equipment to buy, and professional installation is free. Call now. You also get a free HD receiver or DirecTV DVR upgrade from America's #1 HD provider. Time's up. Make the call.
Key matchups, top conferences, the most college hoops in the nation. ESPN Full Court Pay-Per-View Package brings home the excitement. Just $75 for a limited time. Order now. Games also available on ESPN360.com.
Whoa, I didn't see that coming.
It's a crunchy hot wing with no sauce.
But it's still got all the kick. Sauceless and crunchy, it's amazing.
In a split second, everything that I knew about hot wings has changed. In this new wing world, anything is possible.
Will you go out with me?
Yes.
Didn't see that coming.
Crunchy on the outside, spicy on the inside. The sauceless hot wing is at KFC. Get a bucket of 20 or try 6 wings for $2.99. Only at KFC.
There is Garden City, Kansas's Jose Gonzales. You can see the swelling near the left eye, also that cut, that gash that opened up on the forehead. Carson Jones gave a very strong effort. Let's take a look back at the action. We'll pick it up in round number 3 when Jose Gonzales was scoring.
Well, Gonzales, when he scored, it was to the body, for the most part on the inside, and with power shots. But that might have been the punch that turned it around.
Indeed it was.
For Jones.
Round number 5. After that moment, Carson Jones picked up the pace. You called it, Teddy. You said, you know what? May have been a little statement that I'm here and I'm going to be here all night.
Little confidence boost to bring him home.
Clash of heads here now. And instantly, after that right there, blood started streaming down the face of Jose Gonzales. And Carson Jones would try to bring it home with a burst of energy to close out these 6 rounds in what was a very entertaining fight here at the $1 Million Elm Casino. Teddy Atlas's scorecard at the conclusion of 6 rounds. Final rounds goes to Jones, 58-56. For the official judge's words, we send it to Pat Parker.
After 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. Judge David Sutherland scored about 57-57. Judge Orange Schellenberger scored about 57-56 for Jones. Judge Henry Ellick scored about 58-56. Your winner by majority decision from the red corner, Carson Jones.
Well, not the most dramatic read of the scorecards, but nonetheless, Carson Jones wins a majority decision. 57-56, 58-56 gives him the nod. Of course, Allan Green is still to come. Tulsa's very own 25-1, 7th-ranked super middleweight in the world. He is taking on Ruben Williams on Friday Night Fights. Now, here's BK.
Joe, thank you very much. KFC Friday Night Fights Studios. Brian Kenny here alongside one of the top heavyweights in the world, Sultan Ibragimov. And you had a visitor this week in camp, Sultan, the light heavyweight champion of the world, Bernard Hopkins. What did you and B-Hop talk about this week?
Oh, he came in for our gym. It was Wednesday was our gym. He said about the fight with Gonzales. He said this will be best fight in 2008.
Yeah, he invited you to this fight, if it happens, and it looks like they're getting closer, but he invited you to the fight that he has with Gonzales, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, so you've watched Bernard Hopkins through the years?
Oh, I watched his all fights the last few years. I watched all fights. I like his style, his fight. Good fighter.
Yeah, and Bernard Hopkins, Bernard has been quoted as saying that he hopes the fight gets sealed up by late next week. So that fight with Joe Calzaghe, that's kind of a super fight, super middleweight champion of the world against the light heavyweight champion of the world, could be happening, and they're saying that it could be happening around April at some point. You know, while we catch up here, and again, we're hoping that we get a unification of all the top heavyweights in the world, all the titleists. At the same time, we have the Hall of Fame class of this year going in and honoring one of the top heavyweights of all time. Inductees 2008 to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Leading the way is the great Larry Holmes, former heavyweight champion of the world. Mogens Palik, Danish promoter. We've had him here on Friday Night Fights. He was here with Mikkel Kessler for a night and promotes him right now. He's going into the Hall of Fame. Noted British promoter Frank Warren also going into Canastota this year. And Sports of the Times, the New York Times columnist Dave Anderson also inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Induction ceremonies June 8th in upstate New York, Canastota. Just to look back at Larry Holmes. Again, he is a favorite of many, a hardcore fight fan, and many top fighters as well. Again, unbeaten through most of his heavyweight career. Ended up 69-6. Basically had a reign, and this was in the era of the fractured heavyweight championship, but he was the man for a full 7 years and truly a top 10 heavyweight champion of all time. So we asked you, as we will see soon, just the domination of former Soviet Union nations in the heavyweight championship. Will there be an American heavyweight champion by 2010? Kind of a split vote, but 57% say yes. Let's bring in Teddy Atlas right now. Teddy, do you one of the 57%? Do you think there will be a U.S. heavyweight champion in the next 2 years, or do you not think that's the case?
U.S., of course I do. But are you kidding me? I think that we have the best talent out there. It's just a matter of being able to make sure that those guys are also the most prepared and the hungriest. I think some of the advantage that the Europeans have had is a couple things. First of all, they come from a place where sometimes there's more urgency. Sometimes they take less for granted. And sometimes mentally, they're more prepared to be ready for this kind of business. And also the amateur programs. They get a lot more fights over there. They have good amateur programs. And I think it's a similarity, believe it or not, to why you're getting a lot of Eastern European influence in the NBA. You got guys that this is their opportunity over here. They understand it. They seize it. They work very hard. I mean, our guys work hard here too, but they work hard on the fundamentals. And where they might lack a little bit athletically, they make up for it in those fundamentals and that kind of work ethic.
Hey, Teddy, especially though now we're in a country where if you get, in the heavyweight division really especially, if you get a guy 6'6", 250, just where the money is. It's in the NFL and the NBA. Isn't boxing just, it's too tough and, just too sporadic and erratic as far as earning potential? Do you think we'll see top U.S. athletes go into that heavyweight division?
You know, that's the right question. I mean, Football is pretty tough when you got a 250-pound guy who bench presses 500 pounds coming at you with his helmet. I mean, that's pretty tough, too. I think that the other sports do a better job of marketing their sport. Boxing has never had an infrastructure, never done a good job with that. But again, a reason why you have a lot of the European fighters coming over and doing so well over here, in some cases even dominating a little bit, is there's less choices over there. There's a smaller pool of opportunities. There's not the football. There's not all the other things that you have over here. So because of that, they go into boxing. As you just said, a lot of the athletes that used to go into boxing here, now they're going into other places, and we're losing them.
All right, Teddy Atlas, thank you so much. Get ready for the next fight. Let's take a look at the Ring Magazine heavyweight rankings. Just to back this up, put a button on all this. As you see, the top 10, 8 of the top 10 are from Russia or for former Soviet Union nations. You see Sam Peter is the highest rated from the U.S. Oleg Moskayev is now a U.S. citizen, but of course originally from one of the Russian former Soviet Union nations out there. Again, all different nations within that area. Don't want to oversimplify things. Tony Thompson, the only other United States fighter in that top 10. Again, Sultan Ibragimov is here with us from Dagestan, Russia. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Sultan, okay, good. Why is this happening? Why would you say that Russian fighters or former Soviet Union fighters are now dominant on the heavyweight scene?
Because Russian fighters coming here, they so hungry. American fighters was 10 years or 10 years before, all American fighter was champion, right, in heavyweight. Now, I don't know why they can't win in the fight. I don't know. I know one thing: Russian fighters coming here, they very hungry.
Right, right.
Work very hard, and everybody want to win each fight. You can ask my coach how I work. I work very hard, so hard, because I weigh 220. I'm small heavyweight. Right. I need work hard. And why I win in the last few fights, I won last few fights. I work so hard. Everybody in Russian guys, I was in Russia, I saw how working the guys, how working on the gym. Here, nobody work like in Russia.
Really? You see that in the U.S., that they don't work as hard as Russian fighters?
I saw that. Everybody want to go to the starting professional boxing. And work so hard. I saw it on the gym in Moscow and Rostov, working hard in USA.
Well, I'll tell you, that's interesting. There's no doubt in your determination. You can see it in the ring. We're going to get more live boxing now. Let's go back to Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas in Tulsa, guys.
Thanks, Brian. We are back here with a familiar face on these Tulsa cards. It is George Tahdooahnippah taking on James Brian Cook. Tahdooahnippah, that is how you pronounce it. Native American surname for George, 9-0 with 8 knockouts. And there he is. Lawton, Oklahoma is where he's from. That's where the former contender champ Grady Brewer resides, who's in attendance here tonight. We've seen him before. You may remember July 13th against Michael Jackson with a one-punch knockout. And there it is. Tahdooahnippah has been in against soft opposition throughout most of his career. All his wins but one in Oklahoma, and then had a first-round knockout of Clifton Blank in nearby Missouri. And this is James Brian Cook, who comes from Springfield, Missouri, 30 years old, 6 foot 162. He hasn't fought since September of 2004. Bill Marshall's the referee.
Gentlemen, you got your instructions earlier in the dressing rooms. I expect you to obey my commands at all times. Protect your... Both of you understand? That's good.
Teddy, should we be getting up and heading to the kitchen for a snack right now?
Well, not that Tahdooahnippah is a monster, but Cook can be thought of as an opponent. I think to a certain degree, he's been knocked out 3 times. As you said, he has not been in the ring for 3 years and 3 months. That inactivity, it can hurt him and it can show very early, because the guy who's been active, Tahdooahnippah, only fought 2.5 months ago. He should take advantage of that inactivity, Joe. If I was in the corner, I'd say, go test this guy a little, jump on him a little bit. He hasn't been in the ring for a long time.
So this is the potential of don't leave your couch just yet, because it could be quick. We'll see if that's the case. Tahdooahnippah in the red with the white, and Cook in the solid black.
You know, Tahdooahnippah, as we said, he's been active recently, but he's had gaps in his career of inactivity. 1 year and 3 months, and he had another gap of 1 year. I'll tell you one thing, the good news for Cook is he seems to be in pretty good shape, coming in his lowest weight since 1999. Tahdooahnippah right now in the southpaw stance. And he goes back to the orthodox. So Tahdooahnippah shows you the ability to do what Mickey Mantle used to do. Mickey Mantle came from Oklahoma, Miami, Oklahoma. Mickey Mantle used to hit from both sides of the plate.
See him squared up now. Now back orthodox for the unbeaten George Tahdooahnippah from right here in Oklahoma. Early punch track numbers. See Tahdooahnippah, 19 of 41 and counting. Allan Green still coming your way in our main event. Green, of course, coming off the surgery to remove over 80% of his colon this summer. Top 10 ranked super middleweight. He will be in action. He says he is back, feels great, and he's out to prove that 2008 is his year. He's coming up against Ruben Williams in our main event. Body punch landed, right hand to the body for George Tahdooahnippah.
You mentioned earlier that Tahdooahnippah's been in with a lot of soft opposition. All but one fight here in Oklahoma, the other one next door in Missouri, Cook. Well, he's also been in with a lot of soft opposition. The only difference and problem, Cook has lost to that soft opposition. And he's been, as we said, inactive.
Tahdooahnippah scored with a right lead. And they're coming to the end of one.
Whoa, I didn't see that coming.
It's a crunchy hot wing with no sauce.
But it's still got all the kick. Sauceless and crunchy, it's amazing.
In a split second, everything that I knew about hot wings has changed. In this new wing world, anything is possible.
Will you go out with me?
Yes.
Didn't see that coming.
Crunchy on the outside, spicy on the inside. The sauceless hot wing is at KFC. Get a bucket of 20 or try 6 wings for $2.99. Only at KFC.
On DVD today. Shoot 'em Up is twisted.
I'm not let you go, Ryan.
Hardcore power.
Love it when you talk like that.
Outrageous. Sexy and ferocious.
Kinky.
4 stars.
Who's a hot shot now?
Jam-packed with deleted scenes and bonus features. Shoot 'em Up. Own the fully loaded DVD and Blu-ray today. Movie also available on demand.
So much for wearing your seatbelt.
Tulsa's top 10 ranked super middleweight Allan Green. He says you can expect to see a lot of power punching in the main event. He is moments away from taking on Ruben Williams. As for now, round 2 between another local product, unbeaten George Tahdooahnippah in the red, taking on James Ryan Cook, who just had his first round of live ammo thrown at him since 3.5 years ago.
Hold it.
Right hand from Cook. Tahdooahnippah steps to the inside. Cook tries to go to the body. Tahdooahnippah responds with a right hand to the body.
Fuck the elbow, George. No holding. Look at that. Watch your head.
Cook's best offensive assault so far of the night. Tahdooahnippah back to the range now on the outside. Utilizes that right jab from that southpaw stance.
Both these fighters' weights have fluctuated And you can guess what that could or couldn't mean in both guys' careers. Cook, he's been as low as 150 and as high as 170. Tahdooahnippah, he's been as high as 173 and as low, Joe, as 161. I don't think either one of them were growing necessarily, so you could probably say that sometimes they take fights when they're not in the best of shape. And when you're fighting soft opposition like Tahdooahnippah, sometimes you can take fights over the weight, and it doesn't matter if you're not in the best of shape because the opposition is low enough where you don't pay a penalty.
See him going up sometimes. You see guys fighting a bigger guy on the piece of paper, but the skill set just isn't there to really make a difference.
Hold it, George.
Game guys in front of us, but pedestrian talent.
Will not be the case in about 6 minutes when Allan Green and Ruben Williams will step into the ring. Coming to the halfway point of this scheduled 4-rounder, Tahdooahnippah and Cook.
This lush expanse of green does more than beautify our world. Trees help clean the air of carbon dioxide, a major greenhouse gas. As North America's largest recycler, last year alone, Waste Management recycled enough paper to save over 41 million trees. How's that for thinking green? From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green. Think Waste Management.
Well, I married my dream girl, but she didn't tell me her credit was bad. So now instead of living in a pleasant suburb, we're living in the basement at her mom and dad's. No, we can't get a loan for a respectable home just because my girl defaulted on some old credit card. If we'd gone to freecreditreport.com, I'd be a happy bachelor with a dog and a yard.
Offer applies with enrollment and Triple Advantage.
We start them early here on Friday Night Fight. Oh, look at that, Teddy. They got the Your Boxing Authority T-shirts on ringside here in Tulsa, too. And surely they're looking forward to seeing their hometown hero, Allan Green, coming up in the main event here in Tulsa against Ruben Williams. This is round 3 between George Tahdooahnippah in the red, undefeated local product, and James Bryan Cook, who's from nearby Missouri and coming off of a 3.5-year layoff. In that last round, Tahdooahnippah had a 24-19 connect advantage.
You know, Tahdooahnippah walking right in, not having any trouble getting inside with the taller Cook, and having no trouble outworking the taller Cook.
Even last round, Teddy's scorecard had Tahdooahnippah winning the first round, thus 20-19.
Look at that.
Cook needs to be taught the proper ingredients of being the taller man. And maybe being able to then cook up some more wins. When you're the taller man, you should not give up that height and walk right in as he's doing with the taller or the shorter guy. You should stand on the outside, which he's doing right now, and establish that distance with a jab. And if you're the shorter man like Tahdooahnippah, the man in red, well, you're always saying, I got a taller guy. How do I get inside? I move my head, I use my jab, I bring my legs. But it's being made a lot easier for him tonight with Cook showing no jab, and again, no understanding of how to use that height advantage. Again, Tahdooahnippah deciding to go lefty.
Watch the head.
You know, Cook's not using his advantage in any way, Joe. As the bigger man On the outside, he could use his advantage with that longer reach, which he's really not doing, or on the inside, use that advantage as potentially the stronger guy by just out-muscling, out-physicaling Tahdooahnippah on the inside. He's not doing that either. He's allowing Tahdooahnippah to go in and out and just out-hustle and basically grab and steal rounds.
Just a round to go between Tahdooahnippah and Cook, and then we will have a main event that many are looking forward to because it includes Allan Green, undefeated on Friday night fights, but perhaps this his toughest test so far, and he wants to maintain that lofty status in the super middleweight division, a division that's really shaping up to have some big money fights in the coming years. Of course, Joe Calzaghe, a pound-for-pound elite. Nickel Kessler still holding that #1 spot. Allan Green currently 7th. And of course, it was just last spring that Allan Green suffered his first loss. He's had 2 fights that you have to say would be easier fights. Now a little bit of a step up, Teddy.
Yeah, a little. Well, he's had to step up. Of course, that represents his only loss.
Since the loss now coming back.
Yeah, but now he's coming back where he has an edge, though. He has an edge, and he said it when he was doing his interview earlier, and you heard it on the audio. He said, I'm the stronger guy. He said, I don't think this is going to go the distance. He understands where his advantages are. He's ready to use those advantages. He's in there with a pretty good boxer, a guy who puts punches together in spots, a guy who knows how to fight. But again, a guy who's not as strong as Green. The one thing I worry about a little bit when I listened to that interview, Green said the fight's not going to go the distance. You don't want to overlook your opponent. No, that can come back and bite you.
He also said that 2008 is going to be his year. He's going to win a world title this year, so definitely looking down the road, but he knows what he has in front of him in Ruben Williams, and Ruben Williams, for his part, has said that this could be an early candidate for Fight of the Year if he comes out and does what he's expected to do, because he wants to press the action and meet Green. George Tahdooahnippah trying to work behind that jab here. Round 4. Last time we saw Tahdooahnippah, it was a first-round knockout. In fact, he's had 6 first-round knockouts, and only one of his fights in his career has gone the distance. That was a 4-rounder back in April of 2004.
Work it out, don't hold it.
Teddy's scorecard, Tahdooahnippah,
Watch the head,
30-28.
No head.
Cook's finally trying to get that stove heated up a little bit, turning the flames up.
He is indeed. Series of 7 punches against Tahdooahnippah.
I mean, let's be honest, Cook not using his height, but at least he's moving his hands. He's coming in there and he's just trying to get busy. And he's getting some effect from it, some results from it.
Good results here with a minute to go in this fight. Trying to place that right hand behind the jab.
Well, he got a little help right there, Cook.
Oh, he smacks him there with a right hand, and now Cook is on the attack.
Well, he's getting a little help now because Tahdooahnippah, who looks like the smaller guy, standing right in front of him, allowing Cook to find his mark. And just watch subtly what Cook's doing. He knows that Tahdooahnippah, the smaller guy, having problems trying to smother him. So Cook pushing him out and keeping him in front, not letting him get a rest.
Good looking final round from Cook. He made the decision to be the aggressor, and it has paid off for him. So when we come back, we will get ready for Allan Green and Ruben Williams and hear the scores between these two in Tulsa.
Are you tired of working for someone else while they make all the money? Do you want to spend more time with your family?
We're making $12,000 a month.
And we have more family time.
Half of all U.S. businesses are home-based. What are you waiting for?
I kept seeing these commercials for starting a home-based business. Finally, I checked it out, and it changed my life. What was I waiting for?
This service helped me find the perfect home business.
Be a part of this $427 billion industry, where over 20,000 home businesses gross over $1 million.
I made enough money from my home business to buy a new home. I work only 3 days a week and make $9,000 a month.
You already have a home computer. Why not use it to make you the money you deserve?
Check it out yourself. You'll see why I love working from home.
I'm earning more and working less.
Log on to this website for your home business training pack with a 14-day free trial. Your home business is just a click away. So log on to this website now.
Green.
ESPN, your NBA destination for games Wednesdays and Fridays.
Allan Green, who lost power for 5 days with the recent ice storms here in Oklahoma, but he's going to show some power tonight, he says, against Ruben Williams. That is coming up in mere moments, our much anticipated main event here in Tulsa. Teddy Atlas's scorecard after 4 rounds between George Tahdooahnippah and James Bryan Cook. Tahdooahnippah 39-38. For the official decision, we send it up to the ring to Pat Harker.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. Judge Ellick scored about 39-37 for Tahdooahnippah. Judge Griffin and Sutherland both scored about 38-38. This bout is declared a majority draw.
So a majority draw between Tahdooahnippah and James Bryan Cook. Allan Green and Ruben Williams coming up next. First, we send it back to the Friday Night Fight studio with Brian Kenny. BK.
All right, Joe, thank you very much once again for our 10th anniversary here on Friday Night Fights. We will be bringing you the best knockouts of the decade that were on this program. Once we get them all out here on the show, you'll be able to vote for your favorite on ESPN.com. But we're just getting started here. Here's knockout number 2. We go back again to Oklahoma, this time Concho, Oklahoma, August 18th in the dead of summer 2002. Ben Tacky versus Freddie Pendleton. There's one of the best knockouts of our 10 years here on Friday Night Fights. It was 2000, my mistake, by the way, August of 2000. Again, you can vote on ESPN.com for your favorite. We're going to have the best knockouts and best fights of the decade here in our 10 years on Friday Night Fights. All right, it is time for our main event. And again, one of the most exciting fighters, one of the most serious fighters in the world, super middleweight Allan Green. Let's go back to Joe Tessitore.
Thanks, Brian. It is indeed now time for our main event. Sweetness Allan Green says this year will be his year, and he's starting it off with a challenge. Tonight, the top 10 ranked super middleweight set to be tested by the former title challenger Ruben Williams. 28-year-old Allan Green, a man who's never been afraid to speak up. He's just as outspoken in the ring with his power punching. Last year, his tough talk was quieted down by a medical condition he had to address. It was a challenging time that had Sweetness feeling sour. From November 2005 to October 2006, Tulsa's undefeated Allan Green was on his way to the top of the super middleweight class. Left hook, short right hand by Green, and Ravello goes sprawling. Can he finish him off? What a right hand from Allan Green. This fight's over. But 5 months later, in the highest profile fight of his career, Green was beaten by the brash, undefeated middleweight Edison Miranda.
I didn't really have any thoughts on my career. My whole thought was getting to the doctor, which I did that Monday when I got back.
The loss Tests revealed that Allan was fighting more than his opponent. He was battling a medical condition which affected his ability to train, while eating only every 3 days.
For you to say illness, that's an understatement. I mean, your colon is like the source of your life. It was so infected, and the walls of my colon were so damaged that it stopped absorbing water properly. Everything was terrible. I just wasn't healthy. I mean, I was advised not to fight, but I fought the fight anyway. I hear, people say, well, Green was making excuses. No, I mean, I didn't make an excuse. He showed up that night and he wanted to fight. I mean, okay, good, that's fine. Really, he should have knocked me out. He should have knocked me out.
On July 13th, 2007, with the wounds of the Miranda defeat still stinging, Green had one more fight before undergoing life-threatening surgery on July 16th. He would spend the next 7 days in the hospital.
I had 85% of my colon removed. I had to, you know what I mean? If I wanted to continue my career or continue my life set aside from my career, I had to have that done, and that's what I had done.
3 months ago, in his first fight after surgery, Sweetness knocked out Sherwin Davis in 2 rounds. Now healthy, his sights are once again set on the top, and even a rematch with Miranda.
I'm not harping on it too much, but that is the fight I want the most. I feel the best I felt in years. I feel just as, probably a little bit better than I did when I fought Covington. That was probably the last time I was completely healthy.
And as always, a good reception here for Allan Green in his hometown, the local favorite. He checked in at tight and ready, 168 3/4 pounds, 25-1, 18 knockouts. In his last 2 fights, he has scored 3 first-round knockdowns, so watch out early. Detroit's Ruben Williams, 31 years old. He had to lose 3/4 of a pound after first weighing in. He came in at 169, 29-2-1 with 16 knockouts. One of his losses was a first-round KO on Friday Night Fights in 2003. The other, a title shot to Jeff Lacey. And Williams spent most of 2007 inactive. He fought last January in a war with Antoine Eccles. He would have won that fight. It went down as a draw, but was twice penalized for low blows. What will be the keys tonight? Teddy Atlas has the fight plan, sponsored by AutoZone.
What's your New Year's resolution? I think I know what Allan Green's is for 2008. Keep winning and get a world title fight before the year's over. His opponent, who's always going to play, Ruben Williams, I'm not sure what his New Year's resolution is. I know what it should be in tonight's fight. Stay off the ropes. Allan Green, who I'm playing, he's the bigger, stronger guy. I think he's going to look to walk down with his jab, walk down Williams, get him on the ropes, and then notice the left hand of Williams drops, leaves himself open to right hands, and he doesn't move his head. He eats uppercuts. Left uppercut if you're Green, right hand, and then go pop the cork on that champagne and celebrate another win. Your first win of 2008. Well, what can happen tonight for Ruben Williams to be the one partying? Well, first of all, he has to recognize what he is. He's the boxer. We already established he is not physically as strong as his opponent, who's always going to play, Allan Green. So keep a little separation. Stay away from the power of Green. Use that jab, keep him off balance a little bit, and every once in a while, maybe he can frustrate Green and get him to jump in with the left hook. Bang! And then pot shot with the right hand and move a little bit. If he can do that, he can wreck the new year for Allan Green.
Double S, Steve Smoker's the ref.
In the dressing room, please obey my commands, respect the bell, and above all, protect yourself at all times. Touch him up. God bless.
You know what Steve Smoker is known for? Being involved in good fights.
Did a great one. Pavlik Taylor, when the middleweight championship was turned over. The ring experience is brought to you by Just for Men. Williams 32 fights to Green's 26. Green, of course, has the experience and confidence of being a top 10 ranked fighter in the world, and he opens up with a quick and steady left jab.
And one other thing Green might be the better with, the chin. Williams' 2 losses, both by knockout. Of course, the chin of Green stood the test of hard punching Edison Miranda. He was on the floor, but he got off the floor. And Williams, of course, he has failed the test in the couple times he has stepped up into that kind of water.
Happened on Friday Night Fights back in June 2003 against Epi Mendoza. He was knocked out in the first round in his hometown in Detroit. Also, Jeff Lacey was able to get rid of him in the 7th round of his IBF title shot in 2005. The 2 blemishes on the record of Ruben Williams. Look at this work with the jab to open things up from Allan Green.
You know, we know, and Green knows, I guess it's more important than us knowing, that he has the advantage in strength, in power in this fight. Williams, not a bad boxer, not a bad technician, but does not have that pop to kind of get your respect and make you pay a price. But Green, although he knows he has that advantage, Joe, I think it's important not to forget he also has the advantage of length. And that means he should be using that jab.
Halfway into this first round, and Allan Green has opened up, landing 8 of 24 jabs thrown and counting.
But I want you to notice something else, and then, I don't know, maybe this is another intangible, but it's a funny, quirky thing. Watch Green every once in a while, how he'll look down at his feet.
Well, he did that the whole Miranda fight.
And it's just hard to understand why he does that. There he goes again. He looks right down at his feet. And for that split second, he takes his eye off the most important thing, his opponent in front of him.
I asked him about that in the Miranda fight, because in the Miranda fight, it was happening seemingly every 5 seconds. And he said, listen, medical condition Miranda fight, I was trying to find myself. I was so dehydrated.
Look at him again. He just put his head down.
Find my feet underneath me.
Oh, he's fine this time, but again, he's looking down at his feet. Now, the danger to that, could you imagine just if you were, say, in baseball, and you're in the batter's box, and the guy's about to throw a pitch, and you're trying to make sure you pick up that motion. You want to see the arm, you want to see everything, and you take your eye off him, and then you go right back, and the ball's coming. You don't have time to adjust to what's coming. Could be dangerous for Green.
Not much dangers to deal with in this first round, as Allan Green has controlled it with a steady, consistent jab that's now opening up the power punches.
Countdown presents a special Wild Card Weekend edition on Saturday. How losing a teammate has fueled the Redskins to win a wild card spot. And he's no longer fragile. Fred Taylor is playoff strong. Sunday NFL Countdown, Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m.
Infectious, contagious, and captivating. The most exciting movie of the year, loaded with bonus features. Resident Evil Extinction, now on DVD and Blu-ray high def.
Did you know 1 in 3 men will face prostate issues?
1 in 3, really?
That's why One A Day Men's is a complete multivitamin with lycopene, which Harvard studies suggest may help prostate health. One A Day Men's.
Well, we were talking about Green looking down at his feet. He jabs to the body. Now watch him. He looks down at his feet. Right there, you see him looking down. Now while he's doing that, that could be an opportunity for Williams, if his corner picks up on it, to jump right in on Green before he gets his head up. Hey, it's all fair. You know, protect yourself at all times. While Green's looking down, if Williams can pick up on that, bang, he could jump in and score.
It's almost like his own way of resetting himself when he gets out far enough at distance before traveling back in behind that jab. Round number 2, Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you in Tulsa. Friday Night Fights, super middleweight main event. Former title challenger Ruben Williams in the blue against the 7th-ranked 168-pounder in the world, Allan Green.
You know, the only explanation I could give, I'm supposed to be the analyst here. I'm no genius, but if I had to give an explanation to our great fans out there, why possibly would Green look down at his feet? I'd say maybe they had been working on something in the gym with his feet placement. That, you know, he doesn't keep his left foot in the right place. And he's so cognizant of that, trying to correct the habit, that he's looking at it, and he got into the habit of looking at it to see whether or not he is doing what the trainers want him to do with that feet placement. Whether or not he's technically in the place he wants to be.
For the better part of the past year, he's been working with John David Jackson. For this fight, he worked with Beatrice Chambers. He will go back to John David Jackson for his next fight. JD was working with Randall Bailey, and there was some confusion as to which fight Allan Green would fight and if there would be a conflict of dates. So this is the way he prepared for this fight with Chambers.
Well, Joe, you've seen the two advantages that we touched on so far here tonight. Green, first of all, a little bit more confident. He's just a little bit more the boss than Williams. You can feel it, you can see it in the way he's going about, in the way he's leading the round so far. Not tearing him up, but you can see there's one guy who's winning the rounds and one guy who believes he's going to win the rounds, and that's Green. Also, he's the stronger guy. And again, he's got the reach advantage, and his jab has shown that.
Good snapping jab from Green again, right on target.
Now the question is probably from the audience. Okay, I see him setting the table, Green that is, in the black trunks with the jab. When is he going to eat? And that eating will be done with the right hand.
Williams now back against the ropes, tries to get out of that position with a jab of his own, but he has been cautious and tentative early on. Counter to the game plan he said he was going to put forth. Coming to the end of two, Allan Green in control in his hometown.
Well down.
Yeah, what's a three-letter word for...
Honey, would you run out and get me something crunchy?
Crunchy?
And chewy?
Crunchy and chewy?
And cheesy.
Crunchy, chewy, cheese. Crunchy, chewy.
And melty.
Give in to your cravings. It's Taco Bell's Cheesy Gordita Crunch, and it's only around for a limited time. Get yours before they're gone.
I'm Mr. T, and this is my night elf mohawk.
God, T, there's no such thing as a night elf mohawk.
Shut up, fool! Like I was saying, my mohawk storms through mighty forests on his frost saber. My mohawk...
T, it's a warrior, not a mohawk.
Well, maybe Mr. T hacked the game and created a mohawk class. Maybe Mr. T's pretty handy with computers. Has that occurred to you, Mr. Condescending Director? I'm Mr. T, and I'm a night elf mohawk. What's your game?
World of Warcraft. Try it for free at warcraft.com.
Rated T for team.
Apologies for misidentifying Allan Green's trainer for this fight. In place of J.D. Jackson's Pepe Johnson, Chambers is the trainer, of course, of Ruben Williams. And it was Pepe Johnson who moments ago told Allan Green, just keep doing with what you're doing with that jab. He's been successful with it early on. Green 23 of 84 so far with his jab.
Of course, John David Jackson, the former world champion, smart trainer, smart fighter, has worked with Green, but because of his schedule and the schedule of this fight and his commitments to other fighters, did not work with him for this fight. As you said, that duty went over to Pepe Johnson.
Total punches so far in real time. You can see 53 to 22 advantage for Green.
You know, Green has been competitive, obviously, in his loss to a higher level of talent. Williams was not competitive when he was in with that higher level. We're finding out tonight whether or not things have changed while Williams is again in with that higher level.
Teddy's scorecard. Green taking the first two rounds.
Step back, step back, step back.
Some of the tentativeness you see in Williams could be attributed to a couple of things. His temperament, he's a careful guy, he's a defensive guy. His respect, maybe too much respect, maybe fear to a certain degree. You know, apprehension being in there with Green, and also inactivity. It's been a year since he's been in that ring. Takes time to get rid of that rust.
Tough guy to come back against.
But he hasn't really taken on a lot of damage. That's the good news. Yes, Williams has lost early rounds, but if he's trying to get his feet under him, get his confidence going, get rid of that rust. The main thing is he didn't expect to win early rounds, but he didn't want to get damaged. Then maybe he gets rid of that rust, and he can start to get the motor going. That's how you have to look at it if you're in the corner of Williams, and that's how you have to present it to him, that it's a positive. Yeah, you lost a couple rounds, but you know what? Nothing big happened to you. rid of that rust. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And he's going a little bit now.
Sent out a left hook moments ago.
Green again took his eyes off of Williams to look at his feet. One of these times he's going to pay for that, Joe.
So the Motor City fighter Williams engages the clutch a bit here in round number 3.
Key matchups, top conferences, the most college hoops in the nation. ESPN Full Court Pay-Per-View Package brings home the excitement. Just $75 for a limited time. Order now. Games also available on ESPN360.com.
Hi, I'm Jason Taylor, defensive end for the Miami Dolphins and a proud supporter of the ASPCA. And this is Bear. Nothing compares to the love and loyalty of a pet. This guy's a really big part of my team. That's why I can't sit on the sidelines knowing that every day innocent animals are abused, beaten, and neglected. Today, we need you to get in the game. So come on, join the team and help the ASPCA put an end to animal cruelty. Visit fightcruelty.org.
How about this for a Friday Night Fights? Next week in separate bouts, Edison Miranda and number 9 ranked super middleweight Jean Pascal from the Hard Rock in Florida. Miranda and Pascal on Friday Night Fights next week. Miranda's going to take on David Banks from the contender, and Pascal goes up against Omar Pittman. If they can advance themselves past that, they're trying to meet up in a showdown between those two. And Allan Green has Ruben Williams hurt early here in round 4. And now Green is just all over him against the ropes.
Well, against the ropes, that's the key we talk about in the fight plan. A place where Williams did not want to put himself.
Big looping shots from Green. But tries to split the guard with the right hand.
Unfortunately, it has been the MO in the past of Williams at some point to allow himself to be trapped against the ropes. And Green is looking to take advantage. Again, Green took his eyes off his man again.
He's doing it more here in this 4th round of that look down that he's become accustomed to.
Forget about lefts and rights for a minute. If I'm in the corner of Williams, I'm telling him, hey, look, notice that Green takes his eyes off you, looks down at his feet. When he does that, stay close, and the second he does that, jump on him. Left hand, right again. Left hand, right hand. You're getting a free shot. Take that free shot.
So Ruben Williams looking to steady himself here in the middle of round 4. After being on the receiving end of the power punches upstairs from Allan Green at the beginning of this round. Now Williams working behind that jab as Green patiently awaits and stalks his prey. Almost caught him coming in.
Joe, I'm trying to figure out why on earth he would keep looking at his feet. And I noticed that he's got almost a sort of a club foot. If you look at his left foot, there's almost a turn to it where the front of it, the toes, they curl up a little bit. And sometimes you can see he puts all his weight on his heel and his foot sticks up a little bit up off the canvas. Maybe because of that, he's trying to keep his weight on the forward part of his foot, and he actually looks down to see, am I pressing my weight forward and not back on my heel? Again, there's Williams in a place that I do not think he belongs, against the ropes. But it's up to Green to come in there and take advantage. He decided not to right there. We talk about the advantage of the Green, length, a little bit of talent, strength, but don't forget, just like we talked about Williams, the temperament of Green is to be careful, thoughtful.
End of 4.
Countdown presents a special Wild Card Weekend edition on Saturday. How losing a teammate has fueled the Redskins to win a wild card spot. And he's no longer fragile. Fred Taylor is playoff strong. Sunday NFL Countdown, Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m.
The hotter the hot. The colder the cold.
The greater the demand, the more you need Duralast. Batteries built to exceed the need. Batteries built to meet or exceed original equipment standards for cold cranking amps. Batteries built with the power to hold up to heavy electrical demands. Batteries so good they come with a coast-to-coast warranty. Built to last. Only at AutoZone.
Well, this may be called the look-down package because you see a jab and then you see a look-down by Green. No jab that time, but again, a look-down by Green. Again, a look-down by Green. And again, a look-down by Green. But what you didn't see was punches by Williams while Green was looking down.
You know, it's not quite Nomar stepping into the batter's box with his little quirks, but it is something that is really noticeable when you watch Allan Green fight. And we have a look-down counter in our truck who has marked down the fact that Green looked down 15 times in the 4th round and 13 times in the 3rd round.
Joe,
that's a nice job to have, huh?
Yeah.
A look-down counter. You get paid for that, Teddy.
Yeah, that's
the unofficial look-down counter.
Where do you put your application in? I may put it in. I may apply. You know, could you just to put a certain perspective on it and make a comparison with another sport again? Just imagine in football, you're a quarterback, you drop back in the pocket, right? You're reading the defense. You're trying to read the linebackers coming at you, the linemen coming at you, and all of a sudden, you look down, and then you try to look up to pick up all that again. You'd never be able to do it. By the time you looked up, the defensive back be in a different place, the receiver be in a different place, and probably you'd be on your backside because a lineman would be on your right on top of you.
What if Green would say in defense, well, you know, I only do it when I know I'm well out of the danger zone, when I'm well out at range in a way to just reset myself.
The danger zone is a split second in boxing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
you close that gap like nothing.
You're talking about 2 feet, Joe. Right. You're talking about 2.5 feet. That opponent could jump right in, right there.
He just did it that time. Round 5, Allan Green. Ring Magazine has him number 7 in the world, 2-0 since his first career loss. Was one of the top unbeaten prospects in the entire sport until last March when he faced Edison Miranda. They traded knockdowns in that fight. And then Green had to deal with a medical condition which he said greatly affected him against Miranda. And he was hospitalized this summer. Over 80% of his colon was removed. And now he says he feels great. And it's all going to be about him in 08.
Again, both these fighters have temperaments. Forget about their styles, forget about their physical skill sets. They have temperaments to really not go and put houses on fire. You know, they don't look to dump gasoline into a flame. They're thoughtful, they're careful. In some cases, you might say Green has been a little too careful tonight. In spots, he's allowed Williams to hang in there.
I got you. Hands up there, hands up, hands up.
And maybe gain some confidence.
I think you're getting a touch of that right now as he's been opening up with wider punches in this final minute of the 5th round. Coming to the halfway point of our super middleweight main event, end of 5.
Single again, with gray hair. How am I going to start over?
Just for Men targets only the gray and 5 easy minutes.
You know, dating again is easier than I thought. And now I wonder, why did I ever put up with gray hair?
Show them what you've got. Stay in the game with Just for Men.
More bars in more places. That's what you can expect from the largest digital voice and data network in America.
You're the only reason I keep on coming home.
Switch to the network you can trust, AT&T. Get our exclusive smartphones, now only $99.99.
Alongside Teddy Atlas, I'm Joe Tessitore. Friday night fights in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Allan Green and Ruben Williams. A more confident Ruben Williams coming out for this 6th round. More active than we saw him early on. Green's so capable. great athlete, well-skilled. He has shown his power in the past and says it will show up again tonight in spectacular fashion.
Well, I said early on that the toughest rounds will be the early rounds for Williams to get rid of that rust, that inactivity, mentally and physically, of being away a year. And if he could survive with a little help from Green, with Green not pushing the envelope too much, then Williams could get into the fight. And you could see some of that happening a little bit now. Again, Green looking down.
This unique habit that Allan Green has of looking down at his lead front left foot before engaging in the action. Take a look at Teddy Atlas's scorecard at the halfway point. 50-46. Green out in control here in front of the home fans.
The last round, Joe, I thought was probably the best round so far for Williams. Very close. Almost could have went to Williams.
Landed 11 of 29 headshots in that fifth round, did Williams. And so far here in the sixth round, he has landed more total connects, according to the punch track numbers.
We see the jab sometimes with Green. We're looking to see the right hand behind that. We have not seen that enough tonight. And Green is pretty good at turning that hook off of that jab. So an opponent would make a mistake if he only worried from that side about the straight jab. Because there you saw the hook. Green did a real nice job right there on the spot of turning that hook over. Just watch him, Joe. He's got a good ability of jabbing, and then all of a sudden, bang, hooking with that left hand.
Short and sweet, he does it. 4 rounds to go between Green and Williams.
Coming up next on SportsCenter, who's talking trash heading into the weekend's NFL playoffs, how a DVD is getting the Buckeyes fired up for the national title game, and asked to testify before Congress what Roger Clemens will do. That's next on SportsCenter.
My performance is a reflection of how I take care of myself. GNC Mega Man Sport Multivitamin helps me do just that. It's a proprietary sports blend enhanced with antioxidants plus key amino acids. Game day starts with my multivitamin from GNC. Live well.
Say cheese. Papa John's is celebrating 24 years of quality and giving you an order of cheese sticks free. Buy any large specialty pizza at regular price and get 14 delicious dippable cheese sticks free. Call or click papajohns.com today.
That's all he wants is that nasty ass right hand. He ain't got nothing.
The Just for Men stay in the fight. Teddy for Green and Williams. The game plan's down the stretch.
Well, I don't know about staying in the fight. Maybe starting to take control more of the fight for Green. Use your jab, but do more off it, right hand or something. And for Williams, not to stay in the fight, but to get into the fight. Don't stand in front of the stronger guy. Give him angles, and you better start moving those hands.
Williams had a 15-11 connect advantage in the sixth round. That was the first round in which he outlanded Green. Green had his least productive round. He was just 11 of 37.
Not behind the head, Ruben.
Still enough in terms of controlling the tone of the fight on Teddy's scorecard, 60-55.
Anything significant, I think, was landed by Green.
No doubt about it. Significant left hand to the body. Now both men looking for opportunities on the inside. Williams was tying up with that left hand behind the right arm of Green.
You know, I said in the fight plan that Green had an opportunity to do something on the inside. Now, I knew very well that Green's really not an inside fighter. He likes to do his stuff on the outside with that wingspan. That's his physical advantage, he figures, and also that's his temperament. To be a little safe, to be careful, to be smart. and to be on the outside. But I still think there's opportunities inside with Williams because Williams does not move his head on the inside. He gets hit with uppercuts, and again, on the inside, he drops his left. And almost as though Green heard me, he decides to go inside, but the only problem, he smothers himself a little bit. He's got to leave a little room when he gets inside if he's going to do damage.
Punch track numbers, the punches in this round, Green 15-3. Real-time punch track numbers.
Both guys have jabs. The difference is Williams is more prodding, more pouring. It's not a snappy jab. Green, when he uses it, it's got more power to it. Nice and straight, and it can be effective.
Step. There you go, use a jab.
Good look at the jab of Green there.
There you go.
Again, Green looking at the floor, but again, Williams not taking advantage of Green taking his eye off the ball.
Now double jab from the Detroit native, Ruben Williams. Three to go from Tulsa.
Rob, you know Verizon Wireless still has lots of really great phones on sale. Got myself a Venus with a touchscreen.
The holidays aren't over yet. Because some of the season's hottest phones are up to 50% off, like the Samsung U620, perfect for Vcast mobile TV, just $49.99. Or get the Moto Q Music, just $99.99. Verizon Wireless.
It's not just about imagining your future. It's about knowing you'll get HSBC Direct Online Savings gives you 4.25% APY, 9 times the national savings average. And unlike CDs, you can withdraw cash anytime. Go to hsbcdirect.com and stay in control of your money while making more of it.
Watch the stool of Allan Green. It broke after the last round. So he ended up on his rump there for a moment, and then cautiously he sat back on it, trusting that it would hold him to get his instructions. Round 8 against Ruben Williams.
Well, Williams
picked up.
Williams people are hoping that that is an omen, and Green will go down.
Teddy's scorecard has Green way out in control of this, 70-64.
You know, each time Williams has stepped up to the B+ or near the A level, he's been knocked out. And one of the reasons he hasn't won at that level, I think it's fair to say, is just watch this fight. I mean, he's doing enough to hang in there, but he's not doing enough to dare challenge to win. You know, he's got good enough skills to last and to go rounds in spots to represent himself a little bit. But he doesn't have the other stuff. The stuff inside, in his mind, in his desire, in his passion, wherever those places are, to take it to a level where he has to take chances to do more than just be in the fight, to actually look to lead the fight.
Back to the inside where they tie up again.
You know, we talk about the jab being a good weapon, and indeed it is when it's used properly. But if it's used wrong, and I think Williams is using it a little wrong right now, and you throw it from a low level, as Williams is right now, and you throw it slow from too close, you can get timed over it with right hands. Look for Green when there's separation, maybe to take advantage of that.
We'll look for that. Instead, we get a wide right hand to the body from Williams, and a lot of this 8th round being spent tied up on the inside. Now just a jousting, range-finding left fought out there before they fall back in against each other. Combination from Williams.
Again, even though Green's the stronger guy, and you can see Williams right now looking to tie up on the inside, Green is not a guy who's comfortable, confident fighting on the inside.
Steve Smoger gave him the opportunity, but Williams choosing not to punch on the inside. Now with the clap, they open up, and it's Green who gets the best of it as we close out this 8th round.
Did you know 1 in 3 men will face prostate issues?
1 in 3, really?
That's why One-A-Day Men's is a complete multivitamin with lycopene, which Harvard studies suggest may help prostate health. One-A-Day Men's.
I shall now read the last will and testament. The deceased leaves all of his money, property, and other valuables to Miss Jacqueline Monique Smith.
Red Bull gives you wings.
It's the AutoZone Rewards Card, and it's free to every AutoZone customer. It's simple. The more you shop at AutoZone, the more rewards you earn. So get your free rewards card today. It's our way of saying we're proud to have you as a customer. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
9th round of our main event here on Friday Night Fights between top 10-ranked Allan Green in the black trunks and Ruben Williams. Want to remind you that following this main event, Sports Center is coming up next.
Again, if I'm in the corner of Williams, and hopefully I know that my guy is so far behind, which I believe Williams is, that he needs a knockout, I'm telling him one thing. I'm not trying to be a wizard in there, be an Eddie Futch or Ray Arcel or Angelo Dundee. I'm just telling him, hey, look, watch your man. When he puts his head or his eyes down, jump on him. I don't even care what you jump on him with him. If it's a left or if it's a right or if it's both, but jump on him.
There's a 1-2 from Allan Green. Comes back to it, turns it into a 4-punch combination.
Again, Green looked down. You know, the old timers, one in particular that I'm thinking of, had a great old saying that I believe in. People born round do not die square. You are what you are. And here's a perfect example of it. You know, Williams behind in the fight, but your temperament is your temperament. Even though he has an opportunity to jump on Green when he puts his eyes down, his temperament will not allow him to do it.
Punch track numbers, headshots this round. Green setting a pace that Williams, you talked about the temperament, unwilling to keep up with, unwilling to take advantage of the situation that exists, that you say, hey, you see him look down, jump in, go crash right through that front door that he's offering up.
Don't punch step, I'm here.
And desperation time on the scorecards for Williams, but not an urgency in his mentality.
And let's be fair, let's put some on the other side of the ring. In the other corner, too. Yes, Green has controlled this fight. Yes, he's even dominated this fight. But also, yes, he's been careful sometimes where you would think he didn't have to be careful, where he could have done a bit more. And there's a little more.
Scores a knockdown in the closing seconds of the 9th round.
6, 7, 8. Welcome, you baby boy. Oh, where's that ball? Where's that ball?
Jumpers, those with no boundaries. Winter X12, those who defy boundaries. Anywhere is possible. Jumper, in theaters February 14. Winter X Games 12 returns January 24th to ESPN and ABC.
There are people out there who have power.
Did I just teleport?
They can change history.
You think you're the only one?
I think there's something you're not telling me.
Like how you rob a bank without opening any doors.
And who are you?
Welcome to the war. Take a deep breath.
Jumper, rated PG-13.
For fans at home that have never seen a guy knocked down with a jab, well, you got a chance to see it. Here it is again. Green jumps in with his body behind it with a jab, and he scores a knockdown. Once again, a jab, and that's with his body behind it. You could see he jumped in with that jab, and also you could see why he was able to land that, Joe, because Williams standing in front, as he's done much of the night, doing nothing. And when you stand in front doing nothing, sometimes something's going to be done to you.
10th and final round. Allan Green in complete control in front of his home fans here.
You remember your mom, your grandma, some of those old wise people, they used to tell you, hey, don't hang out on that corner doing nothing, loitering, because something bad's going to happen. Get off that corner. Well, somebody should tell Williams that. Get off that corner, or at least don't just hang out in front of Green. Something bad's going to happen. Something bad just happened.
Plunges in with a left hook, does Green. Something bad's been happening all night long on Teddy's scorecard for Ruben Williams.
You know, this is a perfect time to say it's not a matter of what Green can do in this fight. He can jab. He could do more off the jab. He could hook off it. He could set up the right hand off it. He could put 5 punches together instead of 1, instead of 2. It's not a matter of what he can do. It's a matter of what he wants to do, what he decides to do. I'm here, Rube. I'd like to take a moment, Joe, to send out our prayers and condolences to the family of South Korean boxer Choi Yoi-Sam, who died Wednesday. The 33-year-old, he had collapsed after winning his WBO Intercontinental Flyweight fight on December 25th in Seoul, Korea. Again, our prayers and condolences to him and his family.
Well said. There's very sad news that we received this week. Final minute here, 10th round. Three-punch combination from Allan Green, just missed with the left hook. Tries to split the guard with a straight right. Williams up against the ropes, not offering up much.
You know, both guys keep their left hands down around their hips, Joe. But whether you keep it around your hips or whether you keep it up around your shoulder, you got to use it. And only one guy's been using it for the most part. That's Green.
He scored a knockdown with that left hand on a little up jab in the closing moments of the 9th round, and now he's carrying himself home to victory with it here in this 10th round.
Right, ball's coming. Step back, ball's coming. No! Fight's over, guys. Fight's over.
So they go the distance. Allan Green in complete control. We will come back and hear from the judges, but first a visit with BK.
All right, Joe, thank you very much. Brian Kenny here with Sultan Ibragimov, again getting ready for his fight with Vladimir Klitschko. Next week, Allan Green will be here, and as Sultan and I have been discussing, I'll ask Allan, why are you looking down so much? I don't understand. You've been in training. Anyway, next week, a big super middleweight night here on Friday Night Fights, January 11th. Undefeated Jean Pascal, top super middleweight, one of the best in the world. And also on the card, Edison Miranda, again, the guy that beat Allan Green, then lost to Kelly Pavlik, middleweight champion of the world. He'll be taking on David Banks of the Contender. And here live in our studio, he's an interesting man. Again, if you've heard him speak throughout the night, talk about his health issues and everything else, an interesting, serious young man. Again, he boxed very well tonight. Again, even had the knockdown. I think we're all waiting for a knockout. Didn't happen, but still what we expect to be a very good win for Allan Green, and he'll be here next week. Sultan, we appreciate you coming up here. Did you enjoy the TV experience a little bit? Just a little bit. That's about it. February 23rd against Vladimir Klitschko. Sultan, we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know you get back into serious training, right? Right after this.
Yeah, for tomorrow.
Tomorrow you get right back off the plane and into the gym. Sultan, thank you very much. Sultan Ibragimov again, Madison Square Garden in New York City against the #1 heavyweight in the world, Vladimir Klitschko. Let's go back to Joe and Teddy.
All right, thanks, BK and Sultan. Great job tonight. Allan Green feels like he had a great job tonight. And ESPN Friday Night Fights is presented by Just for Men Hair Color. It knocks out the gray better than ever. And in part by Burger King. It reminds you to have it your way. And that was just the way Allan Green has always had it, right here at the Osage $1 Million Elm Casino in his hometown of Tulsa. The Just for Men Punch Track Fight recap. Green with a 187 to 119 connect advantage and 151 to 77 to the head, including that jab to the head that caused a knockdown in the 9th round. Teddy Atlas's scorecard, a shutout for Allan Green, 100 to 90. And now we send it up to the ring to Pat Harker.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. Judge David Skedelin scored about 98-91. Judge Oren Schellenberger scored about 99-89. Judge Griffin scored about 99-90. Your winner by unanimous decision from the red corner, Allan Sweetness Green.
26th win of his career. Allan Green moves forward. He'll be in studio with BK next week. Jean-Pascal and Edison Miranda in the ring next week. For Brian Kenny, Sultan Ibragimov, and Teddy Atlas, I'm Joe Tessitore. Thanks for being with us on Friday Night Fights. Sports Center is next.